Yeah.
Cool. Okay, guys, we are finally here. We ate pizza. Muuskaan finally here.
Okay.
She was late.
As always.
As always, she literally lives
Excuse-
like 3 or 4 stations away. And she lives far. She lives in West London, but she came.
Yeah,
she
thanks for the
delivers.
West London brag.
And Notting Hill. Shout out, guys. That's the aspirations here. Okay. So, thank you guys for coming. 2 beautiful, modern Indian women.
Sure.
Today. Today on my podcast, following Fariza. So yeah, Upasana and Muuskaan, my 2 friends, my twats from Imperial Business School. So they're very educated ladies, very smart.
Yeah.
Were you on the dean list? You were on the dean list, no?
Unfortunately, I was
Okay.
not. Thanks for rubbing it in the face.
I saw you were. But you got it first,
That
right?
was brutal.
Yeah, I got it first.
Did you get it first?
A distinction.
No, I did not get it.
I got the merit as well.
I feel like
I
Fariza
got
is
a
being brutal to us.
distinction, guys.
I'm just feeling very comfortable right now.
Making us remind of the
Yeah.
days we struggled.
Okay, yeah, well, let's forget about this time. It was an interesting time.
It does not even matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, guys. No, about university doesn't matter. Don't go to university. So why would you do
Don't
that?
go to university.
Exactly, you know, like just become
Go to
famous,
university
yeah.
to make friends.
So,
Yeah.
to make honestly, I think that's the main point. Of
That's the only
university, yeah.
good thing.
That's the only good.
Yeah, because other stuff you can just learn.
Yeah. You just
anywhere
end
else.
up paying your entire tuition fees for COVID.
Yeah, literally.
We're still waiting for
online
a refund.
learning.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. No, we are happy people.
We're-
We're succeeding in
But
life.
we are positive.
We're very positive. We love our alma mater. We love our university. We love our lives, right?
So
We're
good.
so happy.
We're so happy,
Yeah.
totally not
Yeah.
stressed.
I think
or
another time we
annoyed.
say we're
Yeah.
happy is going to sound so fake.
Yeah. I wasn't complaining for like 2 hours about my life, right?
At all, not at all.
No,
We were
no,
just
no.
happy.
Yeah, exactly. Everything is smooth, like what I talk about. But yeah, anyways. Okay, anyway, let's go straight to our very interesting, very important topic. Arrangement. Like, don't look here, like,
Okay.
relax,
Oh my
relax,
God.
relax, girl. Anyway, okay, so, please tell me, tell me a little bit about both of your backgrounds, because even though you're both Indians, you're like, you told me that there are different parts of India culturally, but also you grew up in Dubai, right? You spent a lot of time there, so like, please, both of you tell me about your background. So Muuskaan, you can go first. Okay, Upasana, go first.
Okay, I can go first.
Yes.
So I'm from Mumbai, but I have like lived in Mumbai.
Seema from
No, I'm not Seema from Mumbai. I'm just
Thanks
Seema
God.
aunties.
no, I'm just Upasana from Mumbai.
Upasana from Dubai. You Muuskaan
Indian
from Dubai.
matchmaking with
Yes.
Upasana.
Yeah.
That's never happening, but ironically, we're on the topic of it. So yeah, well, I've lived in Mumbai like forever, but it's not like
going.
I am natively from Mumbai. So I'm from
Okay.
South India.
Okay, you're the, what again?
I'm a person, but yeah. I come from South India.
Okay.
So I come from a state called Tamil Nadu, but also like a little bit of Kerala as well because my dad is from there. So so basically like I speak my mother tongue is Tamil, which is like a South Indian language, and that's not the only South Indian language for any of you who do not know what the other South Indian languages are. But so we've got like 29 states and 7 union territories, which almost every state speaks like a different language. So there's always like a cultural difference state to state. So that's why India is like always branded as this, diverse and cultural, because like within an own country you have like so many different cultures and everything. So even though like my native is South Indian, I've lived all my life in Mumbai. So it's like the western part of India, which is a little bit more cosmopolitan. It's got people from different states. So yeah, I have both of them. I've kind of like had both the cultures in my way of living. So
Okay, again, so one of your parts is South Indian,
yeah,
and another is
like South Indian is where my ancestors are from, but I've lived in like
in Mumbai.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
so
Upbringing.
Mumbai.
Yeah, state, Maharashtra. So yeah, Maharashtra is the state. Mumbai is the place.
Okay, guys. So
Yeah.
if you bring some terms, please explain, right?
Yeah, so Maharashtra is the state where Mumbai is. So yeah.
Okay, so Muuskaan.
are pretty.
Huh?
Your feet are pretty.
I told you, right, guys?
Can you show your feet? Your feet are.
Dude, they're like shining and I just can't get my eyes off it.
Guys, we were discussing that to support the development of my channel, I should bring some other assets like in work, and I have very beautiful feet.
She's showing it. Just make sure that my feet are definitely on camera. This is the last thing. People will run away from your podcast.
We'll follow you for your feet. And
Yeah.
follow Upasana
And I'll be
and
making
Muuskaan
some
group
extra
separately.
cash by the side.
Yeah, guys, like we have good. Oh, actually, this one
It's
is
a
unemployed right now.
It's a business opportunity.
Yes, guys, yeah. I was thinking about, like body modeling parts, like
Oh my
hands.
god,
and, like,
this is getting deep now, guys.
Anyway,
we're getting distracted.
it's
coming
another
back.
conversation, right? Another how to make money.
Yeah.
Okay, Muuskaan, let's talk about you.
Okay.
Tell us about yourself, please.
Of course, guys, my pleasure. So I was born and like halfway brought up in Delhi. Both my parents are from Delhi. It's in the central part of India.
No, it's in the northern part of India. Oh my god.
Why was right in the center?
No, it's in the north.
Okay, guys, I am a North Indian. It is in the northern part of India. My geography is screwed up. I am sorry, but yeah. So I am a North Indian, as opposed to Upasana, who's a South Indian. But yeah, like she spoke about all the cultural differences. I think Delhi is really, really very different from other states like Tamil Nadu or Kerala or any other southern states. Our cultural values and opinions really do differ a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay, guys, so we got like a little bit of background, right? A little bit of differences between your upbringing, but in general, you would say that your understanding of Indian culture is pretty similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Okay, cool. Okay, so now we know that. Let's go, I guess, straight to the topic of our conversation, which is arranged marriages culture. So a little bit of context, right? Why I became so fascinated
Yeah.
with this topic. So one day I was browsing Netflix and I saw this wonderful, wonderful show called Indian Matchmaking, and I binged it all in one day. Seema is from Mumbai. Seema, hi. Fan, not a fan. You're interested. Anyway, I binged the show, which was fascinating.
I haven't watched it.
You
I
haven't?
haven't.
You watched it.
I watched it in like bits
I
and pieces.
know,
did not
I know that my
religiously
friends have
sit
watched
and
it,
watch.
and I kind of was wanting to watch it, but I don't know. I don't like the whole concept of matchmaking as a whole.
Yeah.
Okay, we will get back to
Yeah.
that. Okay, so just to give like some context, like where I'm coming from, right? So for me, I lived in London for a long time. So I moved here in 2015. I did my undergrad here, my master's, foundation. Now I'm working, right? And I've always had lots of Indian friends. A very big Indian community here in London. But, and I've only heard like from some conversation that, okay, like you pay attention to like religion of the person you are like dating or potentially marrying. There are some, I think, tension. I think like I've heard a lot of like religion related stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard a little bit about arranged marriage, but for me, the thing is that I never like discussed it with my Indian friends. No, it's never been a topic of conversation really. We were talking about life and whatever, but never about arranged marriages. And what I've heard about arranged marriages was like a post like on Instagram or like LinkedIn, someone would tell that, oh, like, you know, my marriage is arranged, blah blah blah, consequences, whatever. But I genuinely thought that it's a very sort of old school, outdated thing that some people do, very traditional, very conservative, but in general, like, you know, I thought that people choose their partners the way I guess you do it in the West, right? Until I watched Indian Matchmaking, and my world was turned around. Yes, I was absolutely fascinated. There are so many people like American Indians, I think like British Indians, Australian Indians who still do matchmaking, who still choose this way to find a partner. And I was like, is it even true? Maybe Netflix is lying to me. So I think the next day I went to see Muuskaan and also Richa, our other friend who's also Indian, who's also from Dubai, and who you saw in my other episode. And I met him. We were planning to do like, guys, okay, tell me everything about the matchmaking. Was it true? Is it a thing? Like, do people actually ask about the height, the skin color, how much money you make? All those stuff, like very, very particular stuff, you know? So anyway, like I was so fascinated, and actually I realized that what I saw on Netflix show is pretty true, I guess, right? It is the way that a lot of people do like arrange their life. So anyway, okay, let's just start from the beginning. Let's assume that no one knows, and like people know like the level of understanding is similar to mine, that they just heard about the concept, but they didn't, like they never really understood what it means. So okay, any one of you, can you explain what arranged marriage is, please?
Yes, I could go, and then I'm sure Upasana would have
Yeah.
a lot more to
You
say.
have comments,
A lot
guys.
more
Don't
to
worry
add
about
on to
that.
that.
Yes.
But I think like putting it out really simply, arranged marriages is basically when your parents or your families know a suitor or like a right person or partner for you that would get along well with you and your family. They just try and get you both together for a meeting just to see how things are between you guys, and if you do see a potential future together. So I think the concept of it is really beautiful, but like I can only speak from the Indian mentality side, but there are a lot of other layers that get filtered out during this entire process of arranged marriages. It's just because it's like it's very subjective, I think, based on how wealthy the family is, or how the girl looks like, or how much dowry she's gonna get for us, or like there's still a lot of concepts that are definitely evolving with like more awareness amongst people, but I think it still has a long way to go. So
okay, so just to break it down for dummies, right? Basically your parents, so for example you're both 25?
Yeah.
Okay, you're both
I'm not
23.
23. She's a baby.
I still have like 2 weeks to go.
Your birthday is soon. Oh my god.
Yeah, and we're friends, and you don't know when my birthday is. This is just bad.
No, we know. Wait, it's 6th of May.
Yeah, you're right.
She just calculated 2 weeks from now, okay?
No, I remember.
No, I'm still glad.
Of course I remember. We're throwing you a surprise party.
That's not how you make a surprise, Muuskaan. You don't announce your surprise.
Yeah, so I'm technically 24. So
Okay, babies. Okay.
Babies.
Okay, anyway, so you are both
Born
young.
out of arranged marriages.
Huh? Are you?
Yeah, I'm also
Yeah.
born out of an arranged marriage.
You both?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I know. We were the surprise element.
Oops.
Yeah. It's pretty much a big thing in India.
It's
so
very
it's like
common,
very
I
common
think,
that
like-
all your Indian friends that you meet, not all of them, but at least like a
Majority.
majority would be like babies from an arranged marriage.
Okay, so let's start from that. So
Okay.
can you tell me about your parents' journey, I guess, if you as much as you can share, like how did they meet, and like what did they share with you about their experience, their feelings, their like psychological process, like whatever you think, like.
I think in my parents' case, it was like a little bit more different because my parents like got married a little bit later. Like my mom was 27 when she got married, an age which is quite an age to get married. Yes,
Even till today.
Yeah, I mean till today. So it's like it took some time, and she was working, so it was not like she was missing out on life in any way. And my dad was around 29, so it was not like a huge age gap, which I really admire as well. And
so like typically it can be very
it could be so I mean, like for example, my grandparents have an age difference of 9 years, which I think at that point was like a very common age difference. You would just get married to a young girl who's just 18 or even younger at that time, because it was pretty common. My grandmother was 18, so all I know that she did not pass her 12th standard exam, and then her dad asked her, like, my great grandfather, and she wanted to become a dancer, so my grandmother was very artistically oriented, and she wanted to like learn Bharatnatyam and become a dancer and all of that sort. And but she was not good in studies, so apparently my great grandfather just wanted to asked her once that he was not fond of her going and dancing somewhere or trying to learn dance. So he was like, either you get married or you start doing a teacher training and try to become a teacher. And my grandmother, being my grandmother, chose to get married instead of being a teacher.
She didn't want to work.
She was
and I understand her very well.
Yeah, and she was just clear that no, this is not. So I'd rather get married, and she just got married, and she moved to a city and all that. So it's like it's very different. That time the age gap was more. Then comes my parents' generation, whereby age gaps were definitely not. It's like 5 years is still fine, but usually you wouldn't find something which was beyond 5 years in our parents' generation. But like in my parents' case, like it was that. So I think for quite some time they were trying to find people, and my father did not have parents. He lost them pretty quickly. So I think it was my aunt who my dad's sister, who was trying to find a suitor for my parents. And how they both got to know each other was my mother's dad, whom we call Nana or Tata in my language, is had a colleague in his office whose family was related to my dad's family, like a little bit distantly, but they knew that they were also looking, so they kind of which is a very normal practice, by the way, in India, that you just kind of like put it out there. It's like you put feelers out there that
like I have a single
I have like
you won't believe people used to put out newspaper advertisements.
Yeah, it's very normal.
Imagine.
I mean,
I heard that in China they're doing the same thing. Right?
Yeah, now it's like it's more digitized, and it's like people can put it in Shadi.com, Jeevansati.com. There are like number of matrimonial sites right now. And which are the OG Tinder and OG Bumbles, rather than
guys, we are gonna talk in deep about the size, because that's fascinating. But anyway, circling back to
it's like but at that time usually you would just say that I'm looking for getting my daughter married and trying to find someone, and then there's always someone somewhere who's also like just because we are the most populous country, it's not very difficult to believe that there's always someone somewhere. So that way they both met. My mom was staying in Chennai, but she moved to like Bombay, which she was pretty glad about.
Yes, and in the frame.
So so my mom moved to Bombay, which was Mumbai, which was nice. And
because she married your father, right?
Yeah, she was marrying my father, but she was continuing her job. She just took a transfer. So in one way or the other, it worked out well, to be honest.
Oh, has she ever shared with you, like, was she scared to get married? Was she worried?
I think in my mom's case, personally, I think it took some time for her to get married, the whole process, because she was quite old and it was frowned upon as to,
this guy's old at the
married
age of 27.
Like, I don't know, like, I'm lucky that my mother's parents weren't that harsh on her for, getting married, but it's not the case everywhere. It's kind of like, if a girl is like at that time it used to be, if a girl is out of college, just get her married.
That's it.
And not like, given opportunity to work and all that. And even if work max to max stops like 2 years and just get married. But my mom, I think she's worked for like 5 years before marriage, which was quite nice.
So she was very mature, right?
Yeah, so I think at that time she was kind of interested and excited about getting married. Yeah. So there was not the fear aspect comes when you're a little bit younger in age. I think my mom took her time, but as much as I remember and how much my parents have shared, is I think the turnaround was pretty quick. They met, they got engaged, and they got married like within a span of 4-5 months. So so it's not like it took a lot of time. So I don't think my parents spent a lot of time, to be honest, in trying to get to know everything about a person. So I think, like, my mom says that my elder cousin's sister, who's like my dad's niece, had first come when they both had met for the first time, and she kind of introduced my dad in a way that he likes movies, he likes to go out to movies, he loves to watch cricket, etc. I think my mom was fine with the movies. My mom's not a huge fan
Yeah.
of cricket, but it was pretty common in India that, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
you would like cricket. It's not like unreal to hear that. And then obviously there's these things, you know, I mean, like, there's always this element of security which is attached. You get to know where a person is working. You understand, like, okay, you're in a stable job, you're in a good company. You'll assume that, okay, he's earning well, he can. What kind of a flat do you have? So in my case, my dad was staying alone because he did not have his parents with him. So he was staying in a 1-bedroom flat in Thane, in a place which is like next to Mumbai. So very close to Mumbai, to be honest. So it's like you ask these questions that which parents also ask, but even you tend to ask these questions. Then you discuss about, oh, you're going to work and all that. Maybe a little bit. But I don't think that there's a huge big ass conversation about, you know, whether you are going to work after you have a child and all of that. That probably comes a little bit after marriage, or maybe some people are, if they're for like very straight with it, they go ahead with it. But I think in my case, with my parents, I think the case was they knew that time was running, which technically was a term used by everyone around, that, you know, time is running, get married kind of a thing. So
they both were like very much.
so they
of
were like,
age,
okay, fine, yeah, let's. So I mean, they went into it maturely, but it's not like they might have gone into it knowing everything about each other. And obviously, changing a whole city can, in a way, be daunting.
Yeah.
But I think in my mom's case, I think it was fine in any way. It was not like moving from Mumbai to London, which I think is even more daunting. So yeah, that one is fine.
Yeah.
So the level of information that you kind of feel that enough to share, that is pretty much just like general information, right? Like
Yeah, I mean, you don't know much about a person. To be honest, I still feel like when my mom, like, when I used to ask her like a couple of questions, and we've had like candid conversations on these topics.
Yeah.
But obviously, my dad's nature and my mom's nature is starkly different. That obviously, if you think about having they just gone on a date, I don't think like they would have been together. Weirdly, like date wise, I don't think they could have matched it up. But I feel like, yeah, but I mean, it comes like when you, like, my mom always says this, and I think it's kind of more common in Indian parent aspects who are from arranged marriages. It's like, you know, when you have a kid, you start a family, that's when the whole thing comes together.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, now that you have a kid, you like it. I know it sounds to the West that, oh, because of the kid, they're probably together, but that's not the case. It's like, yeah, the family just comes together. A dad's role has his own role to play. A mom's role has a role to play. So so you start complementing each other. You start being parents. You also start being.
Would it be fair to say that until you get a child, you're basically two random people, and you feel like, why are we even like together? Because
not like why are we even together? I mean, that would be like very harsh, because I know that like there are a lot of couples, like you get like even if you get along because of arranged marriage, you're just so interested in getting married to someone. Oh come on, it's just like butterflies for everyone. It's still, you know, you even though arranged marriage is arranged marriage and there's no love before marriage, but still a woman who gets into a marriage always tends to find
when
those,
she wants it.
so it's like, it's obviously the whole thing is kind of exciting.
And
A younger
also
woman
because
feels that
they haven't been in relationships as such. Like the dating culture was honestly like not as much in India as much as it's today. Like it was. My mom had not dated before. Like she got married to my dad.
Yeah. How are your parents? What's their story? Is it similar or?
No. It's very different to Upasana's. Both my parents are young parents. They got married at a very early age.
How old?
They got married. My mom was 18 when she got married, and my dad is 5 years elder to her. So
okay, I mean like they're of age. They're like
but just of age. Like my mom had I think she was gonna go into her first year. But then that's when my grandfather was like pressurizing her into like, okay, let's start looking for, you know, guys or like families and everything. But then the first family they met, they really liked the family. So, and then it was a yes from both the ends. So they ended up getting married. And then 1 year later they had me. So it was almost like my mom did her undergraduation. But
parent almost,
yeah. So it was like.
So did she finish school?
Yeah, she finished school. She was doing her undergraduation, but then in her second year, she got pregnant with me. Obviously, like I mean, I was in her Tamil.
Yeah.
And then, but she still managed to complete it somehow. So I can only imagine how harsh it might be. Like today, if someone gives me a kid, I wouldn't know what to do with it. But back in the days, I think it was pretty normal for them to.
So did she tell you how she felt? At
Oh
the
yeah, I
time?
think like we've had open conversations
Yeah.
again, like between my mom and me. So she told me like it was really hard on her because I think there were a lot of expectations from her, and she was honestly just 18 by the time she got married. So like there were a lot of new things that she had to learn. Adjusting into
Just
a new
about
family was
life,
difficult.
yeah.
It was a joint family, so obviously there are too many members in the family and the houses.
What does it mean, joint family?
So a joint family essentially means that you're living with your parents. So it's very common in India that everyone lives together, like the babies and the parents together. And once they grow up, they have their wives, and both of them have a family. So it's almost like 10 members in the family.
Oh wow.
They're all living together in a house. So that's what a joint family means. And it's very common in India to have a joint family. And so yeah, basically, obviously, it was really, really hard on her to adjust and to like manage everything. And because my dad had also just started out his career at that point, so it was, I think, challenging in a way because he was too focused on work, earning, and my mom was too focused on me. So that's why I also feel somewhere like, other than just arranged marriages, like having younger parents is somewhere not a great idea because when you are growing up, your parents are too busy like handling the responsibility of a household, of like running a household, that sometimes the kid does not get the focus that one needs.
Yes, they still have a lot of things to figure out themselves, right?
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, like that's what
That was a challenge. But I think like this point is challenging for all young parents, obviously, right? So because like you have to establish routine, your relationship with children. But what about love? Like, did your parents tell you, like, did they fall in love after marriage?
I'm pretty sure it was not before marriage.
But like how is like this feel of, okay, this is my person, right? Like I'm actually attached to this person.
I think it's just like, I mean, I would just say that it's just, love is subjective. It's different for different people. For me, it would be getting to know a person in and out, and then getting married to him because I love him and all of that kind of a thing. Maybe for my parents, it was it's like for basically parents who are like from arranged marriages. It's not like there is no love. It's a different kind of a love. It's what they probably define as love. It's like when they see that a man is able to support them. So I think there are very few, like, obviously there are similarities in what we look for a man as people of this generation and what they might have looked for a man. You would obviously like want someone to support you, to love you, to care about you when you're sick or normally as well. And also like when you're support comes in many ways. For example, like I have not lived with a joint family. One thing which I feel like I've missed out on a lot, because I did not meet one set of my grandparents and my other set of grandparents were in a different city. So I know that that longingness to go to that other city, meet my mom's parents and all that. So I don't know, that big family, being a single child, was never there, which I used to miss out on quite a lot. But I feel like while this was something which comes from a nuclear family, I think a joint family also has its own advantages and disadvantages. So in a joint family, the way like there's always like it's heard that like when a spouse supports your wife, or like that kind of support, when it's there, that's nice, that's good to have. So usually like that also you feel, oh, that's there in a man, obviously that is what. So your idea of love is based on a lot of other qualities. So it's like, oh, he supports me, so that is love for me, so that's why I love him. That's why I love him. Oh, he's a very so I feel like my mom also thinks, oh, he's such a loving dad to my daughter. He's just so supportive. And if my mom is the one who's like a stricter mom, and she'll be like, she's the one who's taking care of me, or me going through my teens, and at that time my mom used to be a person who used to be like telling me do something or not to do something. I felt like my dad was more supportive in a way, trying to like making things more calm or anything like that. So those things, that balance which they strike, that's also a product of
I
love
agree,
in a way.
yeah.
So like it's not, you can't define love as, do they go on dates? No, I don't think so. Like, not much. Like, after I have been born, I think they've gone out like a couple of times. When I grew up, I used to be like, oh, it's an anniversary, you both should go out, kind of a thing. But it's not like that comes naturally to them. They always tend to, like, it's a family outing.
We'll do it together.
So, but that's their way, it's just, now that I'm here and my parents are there all alone, and now it's their time to technically enjoy and be like, stop thinking about me. I'm grown up. I'm taking care of my own shit now. But like, so it's like, so now they kind of, so I'll just give you like a very small example. So when I go back home, now that I'm living here and I'm going back home, I see that they have like their own weird bond between both of them. It's kind of like my mom's always sometimes also like, I have to live only with your dad, you're not here around, it just gets so boring because your dad does not talk, and I feel like talking to you quite a lot. But it's also that, they have struck their own balance. They're like, they just know, like, it's mundane, it's just like normal chores or something, but they have their own thing going on. So that's because, it's not because, even though now I'm out of the picture technically, so it's not that, it's not like I am the only cementing piece of this relationship, but it kind of grows on you. Now you get attached to the person you're living. It's also a habit in a way, but I feel like people can tend to think that this is like, it can be forced sometimes in families, that they have to like live with the man, because there's a lot of cases in India where, or maybe even in the world at one point, that people like tend to stay with the man just for the child, even though the man is not nice. Social pressure, a certain non-confidence in yourself that you won't be able to take care of your child alone, that you need the man for something or somewhere, and a woman's instinct to just not leave the man, not to give up in the first stage of instances. At some point, some women have taken the bold step, which I truly appreciate. Some women are not able to take that step. Either you empower them or you give them an opportunity to take that step if things are getting so out of the hand. Either you subject them to couples counseling or whatever it is. But there are like all these cases. But I think in case of my parents, I know that now they've found their own rhythm, and that I call it as love. It's not your definition exactly. Like, see, my definition of love must be different than yours, and both of yours. So in that one sense, their definition of love is, I think, kind of forms from the family. When you have a child, when you have like your own family, when you have your own thing, but it flows in their own pattern, which you can't define, but it's good for what it works for them basically. So it's like cute. It's nice.
I read this book. It's called The Choice. I think it's written by one of the Holocaust survivors. So her name, I think it's Edith Egger or something. I don't remember, but it's such a beautiful book. But basically, she was telling about her life story, how she survived Holocaust, how she's like a very, very successful like psychologist, psychiatrist in America right now. She's actually from Hungary. I think originally she was in Hungary. But I think she was a Hungarian Jewish, and basically she was telling about her story. But one of the interesting parts was that she married this man after surviving Holocaust. They kind of met. They had this like romance, and basically decided everything very fast. They fell in love. It was like a love match, but obviously like life was tough. They had to go through a lot of things together, and eventually they moved to the US together. It wasn't necessarily her husband's priority. Her husband wanted to move to Israel, but she insisted to move to the US. Anyway, I think at some point when she established herself and they became more stable, they divorced because she felt that there is something else out there that she was missing, and their relationship they just became a chore. She felt and he felt, and it just wasn't there, like the feeling anymore. But she was actually telling that a couple of years later, she realized that, you know what, like she still loved her husband, because she realized that she was just not, because like she survived so much tragedy, she felt that she was missing out on something. But actually she still loved her husband, but she was like, oh my god, but her husband already had a girlfriend at this point. And she was like, okay, he probably moved on. But one day her husband actually came and told her like are you single? Do you want to like start over, And she was like, but I saw that you are with this other lady and she's nice. And she said yes, she's nice, but we didn't build a life with her, you know. I didn't raise my kids with her. I didn't survive Holocaust with her. I didn't like rebuild myself. You were saving me from, you know, Nazis, and then you were saving me from communists. You were like, we had a life together, and the life that I never had with this other woman, you know.
Yeah.
And that's why there is this love. So it's like, it's a different kind of love, I think, but yeah, it just builds, you know, it just comes.
It's just it's weirdly based on a habit, weirdly forced at the start that you know. I mean, I find the whole concept like, you know, like imagine my grandfather just telling, oh, you have to live with this man for your entire life. I mean, that's
like,
just
oh my god,
what nonsense. I mean, and when you're young and you know, and like barely like it's not. So I'll say that when you've not made it out for yourself. Now that we have like done it, we've done our masters, we know. So and at one point of my mom tells me, oh, you know, we should start looking for someone for you. You should get married. When my mom. I won't say if, I'll say when, because it's probably
coming.
So if she does that, at least I have the satisfaction, and my parents also have the satisfaction that it's not that, you know, it won't feel forced. So the forced element is not there. There could be a pressure in another way, saying that, you know, if I'm not really keen about it, I'll be like, no, I don't think of marriage as something which is my priority right now. But it's not that, oh, okay, fine.
It's not like
it's not like you feel, oh, your parents do not give you that opportunity to even do that. But at that time when people were forced, like in a way forced into it, and you know, then you get a habit, you're having to deal with a man who, sometimes when he's older than you, he's like very mature, and you are like a little younger, so you kind of, you know, it's a different thing. But it's not like, you know, there are things go both the ways. So it's not like everything ends up being something which is like, you know, dominating relationship, or something which is like, you know, a not good relationship and not balanced. Like I feel like they both grow a lot in either way. Like I feel like since your parents got married a little earlier, I feel like when they were building their life with you and your brother and everything, I think they were both growing as well. And that growing, when you do it with any person, for example, like even basically with your childhood friends, when you've been growing, you know that bond, you know, you've been through the whole shit together, you know, you've been
it's
through
like your family.
Your family, you know, you've been to the whole thing together. You know that, you remember those teenage days, it was so bad. Then you know that, we were studying so hard for our entrances, that whole life. Then we were enjoying undergrad, that kind of a life. You know, you go through the whole thing, so you know how you grow as a person. So I feel like that's when two people are forced proximity in a room and you have to share a life together. I feel that grows on you. You kind of start making excuses and compromises on the way that you know, you kind of be fine with the way a person behaves. Not like, I'm not saying the extreme behavior, which is not obviously in any way should be appreciated or any way should be put up with, but a little thing, a difference between, you know, like for example, my parents, my mom's talkative, my dad's like extremely silent, my mom's more social, my dad's antisocial. So you know, it's like, so even though like my mom expects at times that my dad can open up, you still just find your way out of it. You know, my mom's going to be the way she wants, so it's not my dad stopped her ever from doing that. And my mom tries to kind of change my dad, but that does not happen. But that does not become a factor to kind of be like, hey, I'm done with you, get lost forever. So it's not like that. But I think it kind of, it just is pattern, it's just rhythm. And in India, and I think because my mom says this a lot, I also think having a child, having a family, she truly believes this. I don't know how much I believe this personally, but she truly believes that when you start building a family together, when you start seeing, child, you know, building life forward, which school they'll go to, what they'll, you know, trying to invest in their education, because obviously, like, I think all across the world what parents are doing is trying to build a better life for the children that they're having. It's never like parents are like, they'll just figure it out. It's not like that. And from developing countries, it's surely that they want to make sure that they don't want to have any opportunity being missed for the child.
Sure.
So I feel that in itself becomes a pattern which they focus on so emotionally and so ardently that I feel like that creates a bond between both of them.
I think it's like a bond created through shared experiences. It's like when we work in corporate, they do team building exercises, because like you have to have those like shitty challenging experience. It's
Yeah.
like how we became friends because we were in the same.
Yeah, and
Project.
also because we could bitch about one particular
Yes, we had a lot to complain about, and it's like our
it's just
bond.
it's just a bond at the
Yeah,
end of the day,
yeah.
like parents or friends or
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
It's just that okay, that's
Yeah.
there's a romantic inclination also towards that, but still,
Exactly.
I think that I feel the romantic part of it is still like when you have that solid bond, romance is
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, it's interesting because it's like in life, even with friends, sometimes like you meet a person, not necessarily romantic, just a friend. Sometimes like you feel this chemistry vibe right away. We became friends from day one. But sometimes you don't feel this vibe from the first day, but because you go through the shared experience, like you're on the same project, right? Or like I don't know, for whatever reasons you have to go through something together, and you are a decent person.
Yeah.
This bond is born, like
Yeah, it's
then-
weird.
yeah.
Like you can't. I mean, it's weird how things happen in the universe. So it's just
yeah.
one of those things
Yeah.
which you can't say. Like it's just happens. I mean, like even though like we've been in masters for the entire year, but when we met, it was probably the end of masters.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
it's weird
Yeah.
the way things happen.
That's
I was
very
not
true.
even
Yeah.
like in London by the time
Yeah.
like we were done.
Yeah.
I just knew who Muuskaan was by name.
Yeah.
I knew Fariza because we worked together, and it's
Yeah.
weird how now like how we're friends and how we're
Yeah.
trying to meet. It's just at times that okay, you'd want to hang out with
Yeah.
these people, and then you
Yeah.
tend to do that. So
Yeah.
it's just
Very true.
works different ways. So
Okay, but that's I think it's a very important point. I think it's important to understand that love is not necessarily what we see, like what is marketed, even though it is true as well. Like I believe that butterflies in your stomach are very important, but if some people experience different kind of love, or it's built through different circumstances or on a different foundation, that also makes sense. Why not? But do you feel like maybe, if you're comfortable sharing, like, do you feel like they ever had a longing for like another kind of love, or did they ever feel regret that like they didn't have those like butterflies, like falling in love, blah blah blah?
Yeah.
yeah, I feel that.
I've seen that. Like, I've seen my mom say it out loud too sometimes. I think, and that most of the time came out when like my parents had an argument, or when my mom did not feel heard or understood by my father at times, or maybe like she just felt that, so my mom has always had this thing where she felt that if she was financially independent, she wouldn't have gotten into this whole marriage thing at all. And that's a point that my mom really pressurizes me on, that you have to be financially independent at like every cost. Like that's important, because if you want to step out of something or get into something, at least you have a voice of your own. Like that's what she really believes in. So yeah, like coming back to your question, I do feel like sometimes she's had it, but now over the years they've built such a strong bond. It's almost like two best friends, I would say. Like I see that friendship between them. I see that the fun, or just their ways of doing things together, and like I don't know if they'd want to describe it as love, but I really
They
see
probably
it. It's not
wouldn't, but
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
It's not romantic. It's not like movies, like, oh, they're doing this for each other. No, but it's just the little things that they support each other, or how they're encouraging each other, or just being there with each other when our family's going through a rough phase, or if we as kids are being really hard, or whatever. But they've dealt and they've grown through it together. So I think, yeah, like in the end, I feel like they have no regrets. They're happy with what it is
Yeah.
right now.
Do you think they're happy or they're like content?
Both.
Yeah, I think it pretty much goes like a little hand in hand when it comes
Yeah.
to this. Like, I think because like this was an arranged marriage where they did not know each other at all. In the beginning, they must have had like, because they've never dated before or whatever, so that interest, like, oh, this is something
What is
new
out there?
and everything. I think it all goes in waves, and then you have that period of like, oh, okay, I'm not getting along with this person. Like, what the hell is going on? Like, and everything. So that's when
Should I even be in this situation?
yeah, like you want to leave it, but you cannot, because firstly, your family will not take you back. Secondly, you don't have the money to sustain yourself. So
Okay.
sometimes, like you
The
mentioned,
fear of
the
starting out once
alone, and
alone.
especially like without a partner, like how will I take the responsibility of the kid? I think there are a lot of fears. Then the social pressure, like oh,
Yeah.
what the society is gonna say, like
And also like the social stigma for a woman who leaves her husband and tries
Yeah.
to build a life for
Oh,
herself
yeah.
is always like, unless like, if so for example, like if the person is like a really abusive person or something like that, then obviously you can get a little bit sympathy and you're supported, and it's not like you're looked down by the family. But if it's like a choice kind of a thing whereby you're not feeling it, it's not working out, you feel like you just don't feel compatible enough with the person, that's always not like very well appreciated. Now I think it is. At one point I would say it was very scarce that people would
Yeah.
actually walk out of a marriage just because of compatibility issues. And at that time it would be like, oh, this woman's just got, like, obviously the entire world obviously fears a bold woman.
Yeah.
So it's not very different.
So
in
the
any other
blame would be
country.
put on women.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
it's like it's just what people do at times. It's very easy to put a blame, and yeah, it does tend to go to a woman. But
What if
yeah.
man leaves? What will society say?
They talk for
Oh.
a bit, but there's nothing much.
It's
they
not
do.
that severe, and it will also be like a pretty bad state for a woman, because it'll be constantly, she'll be having to assess on why the man left her and why.
Okay, so she's in the wrong in both
No, I mean,
scenarios.
I don't want to, like, this seems like
Yeah.
a very normal way of putting it, that woman is a victim
Yeah.
everywhere. It's not like that's not the thing.
Yeah.
It could be, definitely there are other cases as well.
Yeah.
But sometimes the way society perceives
Yeah,
things
yeah.
has been in a way which is like, when a man leaves a woman, then
Yeah.
did you do anything wrong? Did you not take enough care for
Yeah,
him?
exactly.
And when a woman leaves a man and says, oh no, this is not working out, I can't
Yeah.
just do it just for
Yeah.
even the sake of the
Yeah.
kids or something. Oh, I think it's gone to her head that she's
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
earning a lot, or she's financially independent.
Yeah.
Oh, she must have the power, or maybe she's just wacky or something.
Yeah.
It tends to go like that. Like
Exactly.
it's been what we've heard. Actually, this is not something
So
which
would
yeah.
you say it's like for your parents' generation or even now?
Not now, but I won't say it's still lost.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
it's not
I
lost.
won't say it's
Yeah.
still lost. It's a lot better now. I think there is a lot
Yeah.
understanding that two people can't get along.
Mhm.
So that's why even arranged marriages are formed out in a way that they give a chance of almost a year for a
Yeah.
guy and girl to know
Okay.
each other,
Before they
so
get
that they
married.
can kind of, it's not like forced, or it's not, even though it might be little early, like you can be 23 or 24 and you've been asked to like meet a guy, but at least they give you that 1 year to kind of see, like as a pattern. I'm saying 1 year. There are still
Yeah.
parts of India where it's still as instant as noodles, so
Yeah.
it's not like it's not like a lot of opportunity of having your voice is not there. But like definitely in my parents' generation, I would say a pattern was similar to a woman being a little bit more victimized than a man. But I hope it's changing. It is changing, but I hope it changes for good. Like completely.
Yeah, I think it's for sure
Yeah.
changing. Like in today's generation, I feel like people really do not have the patience to take the other person's shit. Like honestly, they have that voice.
Yeah,
to
I mean, when
come and say
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think because of, I don't know if this, what we say, comes out of financial independence or the fact that we are pretty educated, or
yeah,
times have changed
Yeah.
and we roam around with people. But yeah, you can't take another person's shit, which I think in our parents' generation was not something which they think about.
correct.
They know that, like, maybe they'll have a fight for a few days or something like that, but they'll get used to life. Maybe if it's just a misunderstanding, there's an apology involved, there's a support and the balance which takes place, there's a kid to take care, so everything goes
Exactly.
upon that. So we are parents to that kid, we will
Yeah.
we will find our way along that way, so kind of a thing. But but this whole concept of like, I'm not taking your shit, you have like a lot of issues.
But these days, like even divorces for that matter, I feel like the rate at which people are getting divorced is also increasing day by day. Like people really, like earlier, two people would still want to keep this marriage together, like for their families, for the kid, for whatever reasons. But right now, even though like I agree that both the people have their voices and somewhere or the other trying to get an equal stand in the relationship, but it's also leading to a lot of divorces, that where relationships are ending. Like, I don't know what my view particularly on this is. Like, I'm definitely for the fact that you have to raise your voice whenever you feel like you've been wronged or you're not happy in a relationship for a little bit of time. But at the same time, I also feel like if you have a kid to take care of, what goes on to the kid? Like, to have to
But I think it's very, if you're don't you think that if the parents are not happy, like how can you make
yeah,
your child
that's
happy?
the other
Yeah.
part to it. To
Yeah.
like,
Even you say you felt sometimes you felt neglected because your parents still had a lot of things to figure out.
yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Yeah. So it's like, what is more?
I
right?
think it
Yeah.
just is like basic human nature. For example,
Yeah.
even between two friends. So there's obviously not going to be this epic friendship where you both are always in sync all the time. There's obviously you have your own differences. After
Yeah.
all, you're two different people. That's when you say that, oh, like, you know, the ability to compromise. Where does that
Yeah.
go? Because a lot of thing in arranged marriages is a common feature is a compromise. There's a lot of compromise which comes, which obviously I don't think compromise in a negative way. Putting up with every shit a person does is not compromise. That is just you not having your own voice, and you know you're not taking the step. It's wrong. You don't have to do it. But trying to understand a little bit, like trying to compromise is not always that negative. So just trying to like understand that end. But if it's not really
Yeah.
working out for you constantly and not making you happy,
It's better
surely
to
you
cut
can
it
let
off,
go
yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
But you can always, I think it starts a little bit like that. When there are two understanding people, obviously the other one also knows to compromise
Yeah.
when needed.
Yeah.
So that builds your bond much better.
Okay, that's a good thing. I think like it's a good point to sort of move to the current times, right?
Yeah.
Because we see that there is a very big culture of that. Now it is actually to the point I want to say that, you know, why I asked about the regret part, it's very interesting because I think when I think about my parents and my grandparents, so basically from my mother's side, my grandmother, she said that I will never, like, parents should never get involved in the choice of job and choice of marriage, because those things that your life consists of, right? So I cannot take responsibility for that, because if you are unhappy, you have to take full responsibility and full accountability for the decisions you make. And if you are unhappy, at least you know it was your choice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have heard this quite a lot. Like I had an auntie in my building who's still there, obviously, and she had a love marriage. And yeah, like, you know, like obviously when you have a love marriage, that kind of a thing. So it's like like, you know, like in your parents' generation, it was still a big thing.
Yeah.
It was not like a very rare thing, to
Yeah.
be honest. So it's like, so she used to keep telling that, you know, like in love marriage, I have to like put up with even like after love. It's my decision, no, now that I have gotten married. So now everything is like on me. But arranged marriage, you can at least blame it on your
the parents.
Right, exactly.
So it's like,
And my mom would tell me that, like, my grandmother, she would never, because she has 3 daughters, right? And like, she would never allow the complaining part, because if anyone would complain about their husband, she would like, go divorce, get a divorce. She was like, how? Like, I love you, we have children, don't complain. Like, either divorce or don't complain, because you made this choice, you build this life, you know? So, yeah, so I think, like, my parents, for example, they kind of translate this to us right now, that whatever you work for, like, do for a living, whoever you, like, date, it's up to you. But anyway, I think that that's very, very interesting, like, from the, like, upper generation perspective. But let's talk about what's happening right now, right here with you girls, right? Okay, so are you both of age where your parents would start raising questions?
My God. I hope my parents are watching this. I'm getting ideas. But yeah, technically we are.
Okay.
Basically, like, I had this conversation with my mom a couple of days ago, and she was like, so actually before that, let's just say that my family, like my extended family, they've started, like, last time I went to India was last year, and they started, you know, like, kind of, the attention came from my elder sister towards me, where it's like, oh, now we should just, like, you know, look for guys and, like, check them out and blah blah blah, all those kind of things. So we obviously ignored it, like, no, are you mad, what are you saying and stuff, I'm not interested and all. But like recently my mom, couple of days ago, she was like, you know, like, don't be surprised. You will definitely get to hear this a lot from your relatives, from like
Yeah.
friends, families. Like, don't react to it, but just like know that okay, you are entering into that, you know, that age group where
Yeah.
these kind of things start becoming a topic of discussion related to you. So you have to be okay, like, you know, just don't be impulsive and like say anything to anybody or whatever. But my mom's made it clear to me that once I hit 25 is the time that she's gonna start like nagging me constantly. So she's very clear. She's like, look, if I see that you're doing something in life, good. If you're not, then I'm gonna get you married. And I'm like,
What does it mean doing something in life?
like if I'm
Dating.
progressing career wise.
Oh, so your career has to worsen.
Yeah, my career needs to
Oh,
work,
so-
and otherwise,
So you have to have your like. Okay, I see. Yeah, so you have to be successful. You have to like
Basically.
moving on with your stuff. Okay, what about you, Upasana? Talks.
So it's like, so when my sister got married, like when she was 24, I think. So I think like after that, so in my dad's side family, I'm the youngest. So, and I still have like 3 elder cousins who are pretty much,
lucky.
who are way of age. So I am
so
definitely, so I'm, so they, as all of the arranged marriage things which they are going through is what I know basically about all about arranged marriage. In the other side, although in my mom's side, I'm second in line and my sister's already married. And so like, it's weird because like my parents are, my dad especially, like he's so chill about this. I half of the time think he does not want me to get married also. I just feel like he's just fine. And but obviously I think he just is like, obviously not saying it out loud, but I don't think he does not want me to marry. But I think the level of pressure is definitely not much. But my mom's pretty vigilant. She's like, you know, it's 25. You have to,
Yeah, in 2 weeks, guys.
it's
2
gonna
weeks.
happen. I have to start looking for
Yeah.
people, and I'm just like, well, you can do that after I turn 28, maybe.
Yeah,
if you want to
exactly
do
what
that.
I tell them.
Yeah, like I think that's what, like if it comes to the fact that I have to have my parents find a guy for me, then that would be only 28 or 20, 27, 28. But my mom also says this weirdly, even though even though like my parents are from an arranged marriage, I think pretty much since I've been in undergrad, or not before, because technically definitely not before that, because my parents would never want me to be with a guy, obviously, like just for, you know, like just protective parents kind of thing. But obviously like she's been open with me, and my dad's also been open with me about, you know, if you want to get married, if you tend to love someone and you want to get married, there's no opposition from us. We'll obviously be happy for you. It's not like, but you should always feel free to come to us about it, which I think is a very nice thing. I have no fear in my mind about liking a guy and not knowing that my parents will not accept him if he's a nice guy, and if they tend to like him, not for the other reasons of, you know, he not being from our community or something like that. But now that my mom kind of keeps putting this, like, you know, at one point we have to see, and then she was like, no, I mean, what do you mean by 27 May you want me to, like, you know, find someone and you will get married after 28? It takes time to know a person. And what do you think, like, will you find someone so quickly? It has to be a process. So we have to start right now. And I think that's what all parents do, because they have to start right now, because then by 2-3 years you can get married. And I'm like, I don't want to, I'll take the risk rather. Start late. Let's see.
I can take this risk.
I think I'll take the risk, like start late. But I think it's okay. Like in my case, pressure is not on the table directly from my parents. They still feel I have like a few things to do, which I'm grateful for, to have like that kind of a thing. But obviously, as Muuskaan said, extended family, there's always a talk.
Is it normal to like have comments from extended families? Like
it's a little bit normal. It's like, see, the thing is, I feel like for families in India, marriages are a time when you all come together. You have like this whole celebration. It's obviously something you have fun about. The fun aspect is for them, apparently. For us,
it's pressure. Like why?
But so for them to have fun, they want us to get married soon, which is weird. Which I'm
just go out.
I mean, there's so many different ways.
Or maybe, you know, the interest also comes from the fact that if somebody has someone in mind that, okay, this person might be you know, or somewhere or the other, like I'll tell you, like if you're coming from a business family, right, there's a lot of like business advantage that the other family might be bringing to your family. So that's
this is
why
how a Game of Thrones.
funding
it's
sometimes.
like that. I mean,
It's very common.
true.
Like,
It's very
so
true.
that's why they'll start pressurizing you to get married to them
But
because.
do your parents want to like expand
No.
their business through you?
No. So my parents, thankfully, my dad does not have his business of his own, so I'm quite glad and happy about it. But like, my extended family, maybe my dad's brother or like cousins and stuff like that, they do have
business
it.
interests.
Yeah, so they have
Wow.
so they treat you kind of as an object, you know,
Wow.
we'll get some advantage or something out of it, so they would just want to like pass
It's
you
also
on.
like about having, so it's like having family friends at one point.
Yeah.
Then you know that, oh, this guy has, like, you know, for example, like, you know, my mom's technically my dad having a family more than, it's usually like my mom's brother could have like someone known to them who's very close, who has a son of a similar age, and then they'll be like, oh, it's a nice thing, why don't you see, like, okay, go forward, something like that. So the family friend thing, when that starts taking like, you know, a turn, that's when like, you know, suddenly you are like, oh, why you have to do this?
Yeah.
That's more pressurizing, to be honest, because you're like, I'm not in for it. Why do you want to see?
Exactly.
And it feels like a little difficult to even say no to, because they're probably very close.
And they'll get that there's
Yeah,
that
then
emotional factor
then
involved, right? Like
then
they don't
there's a
wanna...
sort of expectation that it has to go through, which I don't
Exactly.
like it.
Yeah.
So it's like that way it is weird. It happens in a few families, and I don't know, some of them just get married as well. But there's nothing like, if it works, it works. I mean, if you're settled, if you feel like this is the career that you have wanted to have in this age for a while, then obviously you're ready for marriage. It's not like you can say, oh, 25 is the age for marriage. Oh, no, 25 is too early, 29. It's when you think you want to. See, for example, your parents were 18. It's not that marriage does not work, right? Even if you were 18 or even if you're like 35 or something. So it's that. But it's just that, you know, like, this process of finding a person when you don't have that family friend, that is also in a way very daunting, which my cousins are probably going through like right now. This whole thing with matrimony sites, this whole thing, you know, trying to find a person, it's not easy. It's very emotionally investing. You put in all the time, and then you have to like talk, because now everything is progressive. You're trying to talk, trying to understand, trying to see, which is great. I would say you need a little bit, like a year or something at least, to get to know a person, to make a decision that, you know, I want to go ahead. But then when you're into this process, there are few elements which come in, which is like trying to match your fortunes, trying to match your kundlis, which we call in Hindi. That becomes an important
Like your
factor.
stars, how are your stars
So
aligned?
Oh!
Horoscopes.
Your horoscopes,
basically.
basically. So that's like a huge thing in India. I mean, it's for sometimes in love marriages also they see horoscopes, and then
What if they don't match?
they don't match, and then at times it's like maybe
Goodbye?
some couples just get off, or some families are just like they don't.
Literally?
It's very common.
It's very common. Like, I think horoscopes is kind of like still. I
or
think
something's clashing
very-
that they figure out like
still an existing
something
practice,
to
I would
figure
say.
it out, like with talking to the priest, getting to know a way to fix it.
It's weird.
It's
I mean,
very
people get married to
weird.
a tree first.
Yeah.
Because,
That's
apparently
the
the
thing.
first marriage is going to end up in quite a bad disaster, so they get married to a tree.
So it's three.
And then, I know it's funny, but it's actually like a pretty normal practice.
Oh my
It's a one way where the loved couple can still stay together, even though the first marriage was to a tree, which does not really count for them, but it counts for the world. So that way.
For the stars, for the
Wait,
horoscope.
when we say horoscope, do you talk about like Sagittarius?
What we say Sagittarius in a more religious point of view, maybe a little bit more caste.
Like they want to know what exact time you were born, the day, everything. Like, and they make a whole chart out of
This one.
Yeah.
So there are like a different stars, like different planets. There's something called Shani, which is Saturn basically in Hindi, but it's like tend to associate Rahu, Ketu, Shani and all that, and then they'll see what's the position of those planets with you. And they kind of determine your nature based on that. That maybe when you are in a marriage, you will be a little bit angry. You'll not be a very calm person. Maybe you'll be a little bit angry like that. So for that, maybe we should do this puja.
Do you think it's true?
It's true. I mean,
have you ever seen the evidence that it?
I mean, I don't know of any evidence in any way, because I don't know about what my parents horoscopes were, did they match, but I know that it's normal for not exact, like it's I think usually families don't like, it's not like a perfect match and that works, or it's not like a not perfect match that does not work. So it's like either ways, it's just how hung up families are on horoscopes.
It really
basically depends on that.
If she literally changed her name, right?
Oh yeah, I mean that's
astrology.
That's numerology.
Oh, it's different. Okay.
Cool. Technically. But yeah, like I know that at one point my mom will probably, take out my horoscope chart as well.
Yeah, but my mom first instant she'll take out my horoscope
but
chart.
I feel like my dad, both my parents, I think they might take it out for sure. But I think they're not very keen about using it, because they know that at one point, I think they'll be glad I'm getting married. I mean, they'll chuck the horoscopes out of the picture. Like, sure. I think at this point, parents are like, "Chalo, at least she's ready to get married now. What for horoscope? Like, why do you want to prolong the process by seeing a horoscope, changing your mind because of it? Just keep it like that.
Go with the process.
Just get married.
Please.
Yeah, but I think also that like, you should also hope that the family, the guy you like, their family is not hung up on horoscopes, because they could be, like, because in India, as they say, like,
and then in the future something goes wrong. Oh my god, the entire
it's because of the horoscope. I told you that.
We told you that.
I saw it like in TV shows. They always
and then like they say, right, in India it's like not two people getting married, it's two families getting married.
Still.
So even if you like, it's normal. So even if you like a guy, in the end,
it's
still family. So you have to make sure that they are on board with it completely. It's not like, you both like each other. Okay, done. Then we'll just.
You're out of the picture. I feel like then the girl and the guy are totally
the girl and the guy can start losing interest, because the families
will gain interest. It's like, and this family wants to know 1,000 million.
Yeah, then they'll want to know everything about what have you been, how have you been, what are your cultures, this, that. If they're from two different states, I mean, you talk about like an Italian and a British person getting married.
Check if the recording going normally.
What? This is going to be funny. If
Good.
No, it's great. It's working.
Yeah.
Go.
No, I mean, like, it will be funny. Like, you think this is like a difference when there's a British person getting married to an Italian, because that's like a cultural difference. Yeah. But do you know that two adjoining states in India can have a bigger or a little bit, I would say bigger cultural difference.
Bigger, for sure, yeah.
The fact that you're Indians, you probably speak a language which is, okay, you both know, it's not, language is not the barrier.
It's not that easy.
It's just, I am from South, like, I am from Tamil Nadu, the adjoining state is Kerala. Like, even though my ancestors have been part of Kerala, and I've kind of come from both the states, there's a huge difference between the way they get married and I get married. There's a huge difference between the customs in the marriage. Yeah. There's a huge difference in the things that we wear. It's just all if you go into it very intricately, it's different.
It's like living in the same country, yet we are like
so cultural.
Feels like you're into 2 or 3 or 28 different countries.
I mean, like, this is something
different.
The West knows, that India is always like culturally, you know, diverse and all that. But unless you live in it and you know it now, you don't know how, to what extent it is.
But isn't it just like, let's say, admin stuff? Like, okay, organizational stuff. Okay, we're gonna celebrate this way, or it has a deeper meaning that actually can prevent two people from getting married because they're from different states or something, or different parts.
I mean, see, if parents are okay with, like, you know, because it boils down to parents, to be honest, or else there's always an option to elope, which is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, if it boils down to parents, and if their parents are like, yeah, okay, let's meet, they'll so, you know, a very dad instinct will be how the family is, what job the guy is in, is he in a stable job, is he in something, so those are like, you can't, I mean, I would say that still India, where you can't just like go and say, oh, I'm getting married to a person in the arts industry. It's not like he's a freelancer.
They are gonna faint right in front of you.
It's the arts. Ooh, you cannot.
Maybe like
an actor.
Still stability is, you know, kind of
Huge.
something which comes from a 9 to 5 job in technical standards and not
Yeah.
from an art job, which I highly disagree
Come
with.
on,
Yeah.
what about influencer guys?
Yeah, but I mean, like, not like every
Yeah.
parent might, but still a little bit definitely for sure. I think it will be still like that. But if you see the guy is in a stable job, his manners, the way he speaks, and all that, you see a certain way he talks to your daughter. That I think kind of makes your parents understand that, oh, he likes her, so
Yeah.
it's not like we should not do not be
Prevent them,
against it
yeah,
or
yeah.
anything like that. And then hopefully the same thing the guy's parents are seeing. They're like seeing. I know more from my parents' perspective as a girl, but I think if the guy's parents see, I think the guy's parents would be like, oh, she's supportive to him. She's kind of nice to him. I think it should be equal.
Yeah.
I don't know how equal it is, but I will say it should be a little equal. But then I think then it's weird because then after all this, when families, the first like girl, boy, and parents and siblings are confirmed to like, you know, all is okay, we like the girl or we like the guy, then it branches out.
Yeah.
Then more people flow into this union.
Yeah.
When more people flow into this union, it's not everyone who's against it. Everyone's kind of nowadays modern, everyone is progressive, everyone's
But the first thing they want to
understanding.
do is take
But
out
still,
the
there'll be
negative.
like when there'll be a little older member in the family who will go like, you know, why not we take like just let's see fortunes match if everything is going to be
Horoscope.
okay. Yeah, the horoscope and all that. A
And
little
then
bit. It starts a little
He's
bit
a
like
Cancer
that.
and you're a Leo.
Yeah,
and
maybe
that's not working.
maybe that could be, or maybe like sometimes people are not just like don't find ways to break the union. They'll just suggest that, you know, you should probably do
Yeah.
something like this so that, you know, that we can ensure that nothing happens, and you know that still I would say okay, that is for their own. Sometimes you tend to do things for people's like, you know, satisfaction. Fine, you know, you're saying this, you're not against the union technically. If you want us to do
Yeah.
something, we'll just do it. If that makes you happy or something. Sometimes you're just like, you know, you convince them, you don't need to worry about it. We like each other, it will work out, don't worry about it. No one can give a lifelong guarantee of things, but
Yeah.
you can at least hope for it,
They
right?
just try to
So-
do some insurance, right?
Yeah,
Just
so
to
that
risk
kind of a
averse.
thing.
Yeah.
Then after that, I think it's interesting because when then you are obviously parents will want to get. So I think like for example, my friend recently got married who used to live here. Like now she's married and she lives with her husband, and she is from a different community. Her husband's from a different community, and she was saying that, you know, I think like her parents and his parents, they were trying to like talk, and while they both were here trying to figure out how to get how the wedding is going to take place. And she was telling me that, you know, because like we've gotten to know each other, and we've loved each other, and that's how this union is formed. I think parents feel a bit left out, that, you know, they're not part of this process.
Yeah.
So they want to like take things and try to do it more, and, you know, try to speak. Like they just don't want that every time the point of communication is between the girl and the boy,
yeah.
being like the girl communicating with the boy's parents. They want to like have their own discussion so that they feel more involved, which I think is like, you know,
It's
just the
pretty
fear of
true,
missing
yeah.
out basically. For example, if I would think of me as in love, I would just think that, you know, get my marriage done like in a day. I don't want to spend like
Yeah.
away in a wedding which is like a longer than
No,
that.
please do so I can come
And the amount
Yeah,
of
this is the
money.
only reason I would do. And then after
for the friends, guys. You
Yeah.
have to do this for your friends.
yeah, but then but like you know, I would just like if you ask me, my way would be just I would like register marriage, but
Yeah.
that's not going to technically happen. But I'm just saying that one day you would be done, but then parents have their own expectations that, you know, kids should get married in a certain way. Some people are very headfast and strong with their decisions to get married, even if it's an arranged or a love marriage. They know it. When you know it. But it's just that a little bit ease around the whole love marriage or an arranged marriage process can definitely be like had, because it just feels a lot at times, I think, which many people face. So yeah.
I think you must have gotten a very clear idea about arranged marriages now.
Yeah. You know what? I need one other aspect to understand. Okay, everything makes sense, but what about sex? How can you sleep with a person you don't know?
Of course, that's what's expected. Oh.
So like, okay, do you have this? Did you discuss it with your friends who like got married or anything like? So because everything is so accelerated, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of have you don't necessarily have this physical attraction right away, right?
Yeah.
But you have to sleep with each other.
Yeah.
So what is the attitude here? You just
Pass now.
see with
Answer.
you.
I think you should go first.
No. I'm going to answer.
I mean, I kind of have spoken to my mom about this, that like you see, I mean, majority of Indian parents wouldn't like want their kids to have sex before marriage.
Of course, nobody would.
I think normally also like in many I see even British comedies and stuff like that where parents are like get married or something like that. So it's not like, but it's definitely like not a big thing in the West, but it is. I don't know if parents just don't want to address the fact that that could probably happen to their child if they're in a relationship, and they just don't want to bring it up in any sort of way so that the child does not get ideas that they have to do it.
Yeah.
Or
Don't have it.
Yeah, like the child doesn't know at all. They know everything after marriage. Suddenly they
but that is weird.
Before that they don't know.
But that
anything.
is weird. That part of it I truly hate, which is that you don't think twice before telling your child to get married to someone, and basically you just know them for a year and you're going to have like you're asking them to get married, get a child, which obviously involves
There is a step between
What
those
is
two
that?
things,
Yeah,
right?
that nobody talks. No.
I mean,
But like,
sex is still a taboo subject in India. It's not like a very open subject. Everyone knows that you're supposed to have it to get a child. Everyone knows that that's normal.
be reassured that people in India know that it happens.
Everyone knows this. I think they also I feel like some parents try to understand that their kids might be having. They're just hopeful and praying that they don't get pregnant before marriage or something like that. But it's also. But I think that of like maybe just like people who are like 5 or 6 years elder to us, if like because there have been many love marriages which have been more like contently agreed upon and which have gone through. I think I would say that it's not been a factor of discussion like sex, to be honest. But I think it would have been like, oh, they might have probably had it, they might have not even had it. They might have had values like, oh, no, let's get married and let's do it.
I think the understanding here is that they have not had it. They do not know what it is.
I think they know, everyone knows what it is, because it's not like we hear it from our parents.
Our
but
kids are clean.
Yeah, I mean.
Boys and girls. Or just girls? Boys as well.
Both.
And, okay, but if it's like, I think a lot of young people have sexual life, right? Parents just like, I don't know.
I think sometimes maybe they're like, I don't know. Maybe sometimes parents are progressive and trying to like acknowledge the fact that kids can have sex.
Where are those parents?
I mean, I don't know, like, I don't think I can ever speak, like, I've spoken to my mom about things like this, but I don't think ever I'm going to get my blessing from my mom, be like, beta, you want to have sex?
Go for it!
That's not gonna happen ever.
His mom,
Before
give me
marriage.
approval.
I don't think my mom's ever going to give me that approval. I don't think many of our friends' moms in
not
India
at
are
all.
going to give that approval.
But I'm sure your friends have sex, right?
Even if you get into a relationship, your mom will be like, you know what your limits are.
Right, yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. But I mean, like, they're
Do not cross the limits.
I mean, like, they know that. I mean, you live abroad, you have an independent life. I'm sure that.
Yeah, so
they
now they're just
understand.
praying every day.
Yeah, right? You hopefully have not done anything. Yeah.
So that's why whenever my mother will meet me after like 6 months, she'll be like, not doing anything now, like not any guy and all that. Thing. It's okay, you can have a guy and all, but so what, you're not telling me anything. I'm just like, mom, don't ask.
You don't ask the question. You don't know. You don't want her
You don't
to
want
answer
to know.
for. Yeah, that's true. But you know what? But okay, that
I think my dad will just flee from this conversation like
Yeah.
forever.
I don't.
I have
yeah.
serious doubts in the entire existence of my life. If my dad can be anyway like coming close to this topic of me having sex with a guy, I think that's where he'll cross the line and be like, no, that's
That
we are not talking about it. He'll think there's a miracle baby which will come into his lifetime. And
How this pure conception? How do they call it? How Virgin Mary gave birth.
yeah, like the whole.
Yeah.
I think they'll just hope that that's going to happen to
Yeah,
their
yeah,
daughters.
yeah.
No guys touching them in any way, any form.
But okay, it makes sense for people like not discussing that. But what if you get married after knowing each other for like, because I know like one girl, she literally had like 3 dates with the guy and then they got married, boom, right? And between they had like some FaceTime calls. And then you don't really know the person, and then suddenly you're married and you're supposed to like do all the things that married couples do. Aren't you like, don't you feel uncomfortable?
I'm pretty sure that like even though in Indian movies and all that or in serials, people tend to show marriage and then they show that night they're having their first night nuptials and all that. It's not true. It's not true. I am pretty sure that many couples in India they don't tend to have like the first night concept. Okay.
No, I think it's pretty much there.
There?
Yeah.
I feel like it's not there. Like it's not that literally the first night that is happening. I think it's not true. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it could be both ways. But I
I'm
definitely
not sure what goes inside the room.
I feel consensual first night new. Like I don't think that is possible.
That's too much. Like, won't you be tired the entire time?
Second night.
No, I mean I think it takes a little bit time when it's an arranged marriage. I think now, at least I'm saying this post 2000 that maybe I think it takes time to get to the rhythm. It's not like it feels like otherwise it just feels like it's like a bloody norm that you're getting married. So now you have to just go and straight ahead and have sex.
Babies.
Bam. But no, it does not work like that. I don't think attraction ever works like that. I don't know how. It's different for different people. That's also true. But I think that there is a little bit more trust which goes into this whole process. So I think what we see as nuptials, as what we see as first night is not necessarily true. And I hope that whenever it is happening, even like I think physical relationship is still like very important, but not the grounds for every relationship to be formed. So yeah.
But
yeah.
But for a lot of people, like they say that basically the satisfaction with like physical aspect of marriage is like it's either break it or make it or break it. Like what if shit happens that you're not compatible in that area?
You just try harder. If you like a person,
I'm gonna make
You just try harder.
guys, just try hard. If it's not working,
if you like that person, just try harder.
but you don't even love this person. It's just a love marriage.
No, I mean it's just like if you like the person. I mean like you like the person not
You have to
because
do
of
whatever it takes to make it work.
you take an effort, right?
Yeah.
Like, you put in
Make it
effort.
happen.
You try things.
Go to a doctor.
It does not work. You go to a doctor.
What? Really? Sexologist or?
Like sometimes it's pretty common. right?
Really?
Yeah,
In
Madam
India?
Do. They tell you to have a few things. Maybe I don't know how
Wow,
this
no,
conversation goes.
which
I've only seen movies
Yeah,
and
same,
serials
yeah.
which have these weird things. But yeah, I think
Wait, which things? What they?
like I think they kind of like ask you to kind of play music and all of those things and try to
hot milk.
have the
Hot milk? What do you mean hot milk?
yeah maybe try
You mean like drink hot milk or
if it's like a minor problem, I think it can be solved with hot milk.
Oh, okay, interesting. Okay, but I know that Kama Sutra is Indian thing, right? So you guys know a lot of stuff about.
Yeah, I mean it's
Because
not.
we were born with the knowledge.
Yeah, we were born with the knowledge and the positions.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, go on.
But I don't know. Like it's just your expectations with a physical relationship. I don't know.
Yeah.
Now I think in India, I think the whole concept is changing that, women can decide based on a sex with a guy that if that's working out or not.
Consent is important.
Consent is important. The compatibility in a physical relationship could be a determining factor for whether wanting to take this forward. But when it comes to marriage, I don't know how much it could be like a thing.
Yeah.
But it's not very, very common that a person is breaking up with a person
Based
of-
on,
because of.
I mean, if you're already married, you probably try to work it out.
Yeah,
you do not.
No, but definitely like the effort taken, I think is A1. It's like I think that everyone puts in a lot of effort in India to do things.
Yeah.
That's like fine. I mean,
Okay.
I don't think physical relationship, as I have ever heard, I don't know how people don't talk much about physical relationship.
Yeah.
to
Do you
be
think it's a
honest.
problem?
I feel like it. I think it's regular, but I don't know if it's a problem. To be honest, I think men are horny, women are also horny.
Your phrase.
I just can't.
My God.
I think I am done with this.
Men are horny. Women are horny.
No, I mean, I just want to say that, I think, like, in our parents' generation, because of movies also, I think my words are
All
more
they did was
influenced
bang
from that.
bang.
Like in my parents, like in our parents' ka not that we're ever thinking about our parents, but yeah, just saying that generation, I think it was like, it's normally the first time you are having a close to a physical relationship with a girl. It's not that you had it in
Yeah.
the past and this is like your second, third rodeo or something. It's your first one. So you are a little bit more excited about it.
Yeah.
The woman is shy. The woman is also like, anticipating that this is probably
Yeah.
going to happen
And
to
what
her.
is going to happen?
And even though like at one point it's just, it's like, I think pretty much couples also have like, regular, passionate, the one which is sex with love and all of that. But I think at one point it's also the baby, like it's like
Bang,
trying to
bang.
find a baby. So it's trying to like make a baby. So I think it's working both the ways. So I hope it's just both and not only one. But yeah, I still feel that we don't talk about it much.
Much at all.
Yeah, we don't
Yeah.
talk about it
But I
at
think
all.
you
But I
should.
hope that it's whatever is going on, it's just good for the couple, basically. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like a private matter. They
Inside
can.
the bedroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
it's.
Thank you for.
I just like hope that if a girl or a guy decides that there's a certain incompatibility in the physical relationship, which also supersedes the fact that it supersedes the liking that they have for the other person, and they decide to walk out of a relationship before marriage or even after, then I hope that that's just not pretty much condoned or not like condemned in any sort of way. It should be allowed, and that progressiveness should definitely be there. And when you speak about it, it's not just about compatibility, it's also about consent. So there should be no scope of force in the whole thing.
Even if you're already married, right?
Yeah, obviously. And that's a definite Indian law that you can't, there's no forcing. There has to be
so, like,
consent, even if you're married.
So that's actually good to know, because a lot of countries, like, they still have to criminalize like those.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's worst in the name of marriage to do this. I don't think there's a much more demon.
Oh my God! I remember I watched this Indian movie.
Which one?
So basically, the girl, she was supposed to get married. She's like, they were like modern people, right? But I watched it maybe like 10, 15 years ago. I was a child. Poor me. There was this movie. The girl was supposed to marry a guy. She's from like a good family. He's from a rich family. So everyone is excited. She's super beautiful. He's young and handsome. They like each other. So arranged marriage, but they're both very excited. So basically, I think they got married, but before they could like consummate the marriage, I think the guy, he was driving, and there was an accident. He passed away during driving, right? So now everyone is like, well, you basically have to become like a
widow.
A widow. You have to, like stop dressing up nice.
Yeah.
Basically, like die with him. Like morally. Stop dressing up, like basically live the life of a widow forever. Like go to the, I don't know, like to a religious place, whatever, and just like. And she's young. she's like, your life is just starting, right? So she's shocked, but everyone is pressuring her to like basically give up her life. And then one of her, I don't know, like relatives or like family friends like steps up, and she's like, no, she's like, young girl, I'm gonna, and like I think her family doesn't want to take her, right, because she's a widow. So this like auntie, whatever, like she steps up and she's like, no, like you can go live with me, it's fine. So she comes to live with her, and then she has like a relative or something. So one day this relative man comes home drunk, and he basically this girl, like our words, right? I think you just can't say it on channel, so that's I say it, right? So he basically do the thing with the girl, and now she's impure, and everyone is blaming her, like now she's impure now, and everyone like I think that, oh, you were like doing things, whatever, being like existing, so that's why you provoked this man, so you are to blame. You are the problem, and now everyone, and like, poor me, I was like 10 years old watching this movie. I was shocked, and I also, and then like everyone is against her in this community. Now everyone wants her, I don't know, to like shave her head and like basically go to this monk place, whatever, and basically because you are like dirty widow, whatever.
You're bad luck, you're not required in the society at all.
Yes, but actually it ends up that her childhood friends, he always loved her like her whole life, and then he kind of like steps up and says, no, I love you. Yeah, I marry you, I love you no matter what, like I love you, and I think she reciprocated in the end, and it's like a happy ending.
I want love like that.
You just told me that you're enjoying your single girl.
Kidding, guys. Kidding.
Are you?
I'm loving it.
Are you though? Okay.
I'm loving it.
Yeah, enjoy. You have to love yourself first, and then love will come to your life.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just be excited about your life. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, this was a shock for me at the time. Like I still remember. Like this was a scene where this drunk man comes. Oh my god! Like it wasn't for a child's eyes. But yeah, anyway, so I think that we discussed a lot of stuff. Even we didn't talk about biodata and what it means, right? But it's a whole.
It's called CV.
The new biodata is LinkedIn profiles.
Yeah, guys, that's amazing. That the biodata, what they put the salary.
They put the salary, they put the height, they put the complexion, they put photos. Modern ones have photos, and modern ones have like interests and all that. Age, obviously. Education.
Achievements.
Education, family, obviously caste and all of that as well.
Siblings.
Does caste still matter?
Yeah, of course.
When usually arranged marriages are done within the caste only. Like it's not like like usually it starts out like that. Obviously a family tends to get someone from their own community, or family friends tend to be of their own community. I think now sometimes if it just takes very long to find someone, they just kind of branch out and try to say that it's
it's very hard.
But yeah, usually it's just some people are completely hung up on finding exactly one person from the same caste or same community. Some people try to open up from the state or from their language that they speak, but try to involve different communities and different castes. Some just go for all different states altogether in the hopes of just trying to find the guy and get married, so on and so on. Yeah, it's like I think casteism exists, but
in
it's
North
not
India,
like
you see the money.
And
also the caste.
The salaries?
The money.
Okay, the capital, the family fortune?
Yeah.
Okay. Old school, new school, right?
No. We're the same school.
But yeah, okay. So for your where are you from? Like money, wealth matters, right? Fortune. This is the most important thing. Is it more important than caste? And more important?
I think as important as caste. I would say.
Okay.
Like when you're checking, you'd either want to see a proposal within the same community for sure, like same caste, but either the family is at a similar wealth level, like just as you, like
Or richer.
similarly well off or
Yeah.
richer for sure. Yeah.
Guys should be richer.
And they similarly seek that the girl should be richer because
Oh, they also want a girl too. So you do both need to be super rich, basically. Yeah. Okay, interesting. Okay, so money. But anyway, I think to wrap up our discussion, whatever relationship you have in life, you have to start from loving yourself, respecting yourself, knowing what
Yeah.
you want, and then how you go about that, like which tool, which like way you choose, like to build your life, to build your relationship, to build your family. It's up to you, but you also have to like start from the position of power, I guess, position of what I know what I want, so let's see how do you like live up to my expectations or not. And I think that's a very good thing.
You should just not take it very seriously. Like, just take it in a way which suits you the best, and don't get pressurized and if you feel pressurized, just voice out your opinions about it.
Yeah, trust yourself, trust your inner feeling, trust like your body, your mind.
Yeah, and it can be weirdly fun as well, I think, at one point. Like, at in some cases it is fun, because you're like, oh, you're meeting, you get to know about someone. It's just the whole concept of dating, a little bit with parents involved. And not a little bit, with completely parents involved. But it's all about, like, it's just like dating. You're just trying to get to know a person. It's going to be awkward. You're trying to like ask
in a living
your
room
questions.
full of your family and his family.
And then you get to go to this room in the corner,
Yeah.
and then you can ask a little bit more questions. Half of the time you're shy and shit.
Yeah.
It's just all weird, but it's fun. I think it's okay. It's cute if it works out.
Filmy AF.
Yeah, it's also good to test the waters. So if you know 2-3 times when you've done the drill, you know the 4th time what questions to ask and what.
You will know. You will get more experience, and
Yeah.
you will know what to look for.
However, like, never think. I think it's just weird to think that arranged marriage is just the worst. Maybe it's both.
In the end, if you're still confused, please contact
Yeah, I feel like
Upasana.
I'm the new love
She
guru.
will solve all your issues.
Yeah.
She'll guide you. She's the guru.
Yeah, and then I'm going to remain unmarried forever.
She's gonna be Upasana from Dubai. Your matrimonial guide to the wonderful world of successful familial relationships, guys.
Yeah,
Yes.
if you reach out to me, I'll just tell you that you don't get that.
Oh, yeah, Upasana.
No, I won't ever
Yeah.
tell you that. But
Yeah.
I mean, don't know. You tell me from your experience, and I'll decide whether to get a marriage marriage or love marriage.
Yes, maybe you have some advice for our girls, right? Maybe they know
Yeah,
something.
please let us know what you think, what has worked for you.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know
Yeah.
what? Like, please share your experience. Like, DM me, Upasana, Muuskaan. If you wanna talk, if you wanna have a chat, like, we're open, right? Like,
Of
We
course,
are,
yeah.
we would want to, like, we lack anecdotes because we're not like really in the age, and we've not gone through the process. But it'll be fun if we
yeah. No, I think it was great that we discussed it, like, as young girls, young, educated, very progressive, but also like it's still part of life. Why not? We can talk about that. But yes, thank you, my lovely, beautiful ladies, for coming. I think we had a very interesting discussion. I was so excited. I learned a lot of new. I hope that viewers like now this topic a little bit like less crazy, a little bit less like unknown. You know, we can all have our own opinions on that and like make the best decisions for ourselves. But yes, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm gonna leave their handles if you wanna follow the girl. Yes, and please, yes, subscribe to channel, listen to Following Fariza. Bye bye.
Bye.